Hi, guys. It's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. I wonder if you can hear this purring. This cat did not want me to stream again. Every time I get it close to the microphone, he stops purring, though. All right. We need a kitten because Mark Berman's on the stand, and he's a little frustrating, I believe. But Marsha's being nice to him. He's answering the boring questions with Marsha. Goodbye, kitty kitty. Goodbye, pretty kitty. All right. So while I play with this, nope, he's leaving. Let's get started.
Crime scene of that area that night.
Well, the cat
You
jumped on
recognize this particular
the
bag?
Yes, I do.
Is that one from your house?
That was
Yes,
my
it is.
bad. That was all me, guys. That was. I think we're at March 9th. This one. We're here.
And your partner, do you know where he was at the time you had contact with the defendant and the woman?
My partner was next to me or within a short distance of me. I was taking the lead to at least ask the questions.
Now, did the defendant resist your being on the property at all?
No,
Did you arrest him?
no.
After the female indicated to you that she did not want to file a report, what did you do?
We left the location.
Did you write a crime report of your contact with the defendant and not of that day in 1985?
No, I did not.
Can you tell us, sir, what is a DFAR?
A daily field activities report.
And what is that?
It's your log for all the radio calls that you handle that day, the time you arrive and the time you leave.
Okay. And is that something that is maintained by patrol officers?
Yes, it is.
And what is the purpose of it?
To record the events of the day.
Now, you were working partners with someone else, is that right?
Yes,
Whose responsibility is it to fill out the field activity report log?
that would be the passenger.
Okay, and what were you?
I was the driver.
Okay. Do you know whether your partner, the passenger on that day, filled out a daily field activity report to log in the events of the contact with Mr. Simpson?
I know he made a DFAR. What he put in the entry, I do not know.
Did you make an effort to write anything else?
No.
Now, back in 1985 and 1986, sir, can you tell us whether you knew someone or met someone by the name of Kathleen Bell?
Yes, I can tell you. I did not.
But you do recognize the name, don't you, sir?
Yes.
When was the first time that you heard that name?
It was in 94, I believe in the fall of 94. I don't know exactly what month.
By the fall, you mean September, October?
September, October.
And do you recall when you testified in the preliminary hearing in this matter?
Yes, I do.
And when was that, sir?
I believe July 5th and 6th, 1994.
So you first heard her name after you testified at the preliminary hearing?
Yes.
And how was it that you heard her name? In connection with what?
In connection with allegations of statements I made to her at a date sometime in 85 or 86.
And where did you hear those allegations, sir?
In the news.
And were you informed about a letter she had written in July of 1994 after the preliminary hearing to Johnny Cochran?
Yes, I did.
And have you had an opportunity to review that letter this morning?
I'm not sure if I reviewed that letter. I don't believe I reviewed the letter. I've seen a statement, but I don't think it was that initial letter.
So are you presently very familiar with the contents of the letter that this woman wrote to Mr. Cochran?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to ask that this letter be marked as people's.
102.
Thank you, Ron.
Objection.
Yes, sir.
All right, so do you recognize the printing here and the content of what you're seeing?
I'm having a hard time. Some of this is cut off on the right side of the screen.
Okay, I'm going to ask Jonathan to move it to the right, left, so you can see the rest of the lines.
Ms. Clark, would it be easier to give Detective Furman the actual copy, use the display for the jury's purposes?
The only problem is that I don't have an extra copy. Maybe counsel,
You can just read the letter if she wants to correct some other content.
I'd rather show it to the witness, Your Honor.
I'll be happy to have my staff make a photocopy for you.
Great.
With the reporter?
No.
Mr. Bailey? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our break just so that we can make sure this exhibit is clear and you can read it carefully. Please remember my admonition to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations or allow anybody to communicate with you. Detective Furman, you're ordered to come back at 1:30.
Yes,
Right.
Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll stand in recess, 1:30.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the point.
Are you ready with your exhibit?
Yes, Your Honor, I am. Let me indicate to the court that Mr. Bailey was kind enough to help us by having it, the original letter retyped in a form that could be shown more effectively on the envelope. And it is not the original, however. I'm assuming the defense said he did.
Are we agreed?
Court reporting on it, she shouldn't be. I'd verify.
I'll accept that.
Would you like to see it, Brother?
Yes, please. If I could have a copy. Could I have a copy, Ms. Clark?
I don't have an extra, I have the one. Well, have you asked me for, Mr. Bailey just gave it to me like.
I didn't expect name for any copies, it's just for exhibition purposes. I assume the exhibit
All right.
will be the
Okay.
same.
You know,
All right.
what I can do is-
No, that's fine. That's fine. Keep it. Keep it. Let's
No,
just
I
get
have
the
the
jury.
original copy. I can give you.
No, I have that.
You have that.
That's why I said keep it. Let's roll. Deputy McNair, let's have the jurors, please.
Yay, Donald. Thank you.
Gentlemen, please be seated. All right, Detective Furman, would you retake the witness stand, please? Let the record reflect, we have now been rejoined by all 12 members, all the remaining members of our jury panel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Detective Mark Furman is again on the witness stand. Good afternoon, Detective Furman.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
You're reminded you're still under oath. Ms. Clark, you may continue.
Thank you. Good afternoon. When we left off, Your Honor, we were attempting to show an exhibit, and we now have it in a form that can be shown on the monitor for the benefit of the jury as well as the witness simultaneously.
All right, this is People 102.
I'm going to ask you, sir, when we left off, I asked if you had seen a copy of the letter written by the woman named Kathleen Bell that she wrote in July of 1994 to Mr. Cochran. I believe it was July 19th of 1994. And I was about to ask you to read that letter on the monitor. Could you now do so, sir?
Yes.
I take it you're asking Detective Furman to read the paragraph that's depicted on the monitor?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, for the record, this is the second full paragraph of the letter.
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, sir, with respect to this paragraph, did you visit a Marine recruiting office located in Redondo Beach in 1985 between 1985 and 1986?
Yes.
Do you remember meeting a woman named Kathleen Bell at that Marine recruiting office between 1985 and 1986?
No.
Did one of the district attorneys on this case ask you to watch Larry King live on television?
Yes, they did.
And do you recall approximately when that was?
I believe it was in the last month. I think it was the program she was on just before the most recent. So I think it would be about a month.
So about a month ago?
A month, yes.
And for what purpose were you watching Larry King live?
They asked me to just look at the show and see if looking at the woman jogged my memory.
And did you then look at the show, sir?
Yes.
Did you see a woman who called herself Kathleen Bell?
Yes.
And did you recognize her?
No, I did not.
Next paragraph.
Like what is being displayed now is the third full paragraph.
You've read the conversation thus far as described in the letter?
Yes, I have.
Next paragraph. And have you read that paragraph?
I have.
Did the conversation Kathleen Bell describes in this letter occur?
No, it did not.
Now, during that practice session, at the beginning of your testimony, we referred to a practice session in which there were several district attorneys. We referred to at the beginning of your testimony. That practice or mock cross-examination, that deal with the anticipated cross-examination on this subject of Kathleen Bell?
Yes, it did.
Did it deal with your actual work on this case as a police detective?
No, it didn't.
And how long did that examination take place for?
20 to 30 minutes.
And that conversation that is described in this letter from Kathleen Bell, did that occur, sir?
No, it didn't.
Now, back in 1985, we were talking about you responded to the defendant's home at 360 Rockingham pursuant to a call where you saw a woman crying, leaning up against the Mercedes-Benz. You recall that testimony, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever fill out a report that described that event?
No, I didn't.
Now, you saw that the woman involved with Mr. Simpson was a white woman, didn't you?
Yes.
Did you take any steps to further investigate that incident?
No.
Did you make any effort to encourage that the defendant be prosecuted for it?
No.
Did you attempt to persuade let me back up for a second. The woman that you saw there crying up against the Mercedes-Benz, have you since determined who that was?
Well, since it was told to me who it was, yes.
And that person is?
Nicole Brown Simpson.
Did you attempt to persuade her to seek prosecution for the incident?
No.
Could you have done so?
Yes.
Did you notify any news media about that incident?
No, I didn't.
Did you call the National Enquirer?
No.
Could you have patted the defendant down after that incident?
I believe, considering the call, yes, I could have.
Did you?
No.
Could you have asked for his identification as a result of that incident at that time?
Absolutely.
Did you?
No.
I'm not hearing the witness over.
Sure. Detective Jim.
I'm sorry.
Just pull it up just a little. Okay, thank you. Ms. Clark.
Could you have called your supervisor to come and further investigate the incident?
Yes.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Bailey, can you hear?
Yeah, sure.
Could you have interviewed Mr. Simpson concerning that incident?
Yes.
And did you?
No.
Could you have interviewed Nicole Brown concerning the incident?
Yes.
Did you?
No.
Could you have insisted on some further follow-up of that incident?
I could have, yes.
Did you?
No.
Now, did you continue to work at West LA after that incident, sir?
Yes, I did.
And did you have any additional contact with the defendant after 1985?
No.
Now, you mentioned that you did not write anything down to describe the incident, any kind of report back in 1985. At some point in time, though, did you write something concerning that incident?
Yes, I did.
And what was it that you wrote?
I wrote a letter to, it was addressed to whom it may concern, but it was addressed to the city attorney's office I'm sorry, it wasn't addressed to. It was requested by the city attorney's office.
Okay, now, can you describe for us what that is? What that was? Was it a letter? Was it a report?
I believe it would be characterized as a memo.
And what did that memo contain? What kind of information did it have?
It just described the incident as I remembered it that occurred in 1985.
And why did you write that memo, sir?
It was requested by a detective that was handling a current case in 1989 involving Mr. and Mrs. Simpson.
Next exhibit, Your Honor, is a memo dated January 18th, 1989. Asked it to be People's
103.
103. Thank you. Was it your idea to write this letter, sir?
No,
You wrote it in response to the request of the city attorney?
yes, via the detective handling the case.
Okay. Okay, what was your position at the time you wrote this memo, sir?
I was a detective trainee.
Still a police officer, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now look on the screen, if you will, sir. Can you show the date, Jonathan? Okay, can you move it up and kind of enlarge it? That's pretty small.
I'm getting seasick here.
I don't know about anybody else, but I can't read that. Can you make that a little bigger, John? It's okay if we see only half at a time. It'd be better to be able to read. All right. Can everybody read that? Okay, thanks.
1492, can you read that? All right.
We saw this. And I think
Do
we
have an
saw,
extra copy of this?
we stopped around here.
There's some there. I don't
This is where we stopped.
recall their exact description, but I think there was garbage cans there, yes.
Mhm. From what you recall of the crime scene of that area that night, was there room for a car to park between the black Jeep and the garbage cans,
I wouldn't think so, no.
or between the black Jeep and that wall or curb there?
I don't believe so. That would have been extremely tight.
You described change that you saw, sir.
Yes,
Do you recall where it was in relation to the Jeep?
to the north of the Jeep.
People's Exhibit 48K.
Do you recognize that, sir?
It's a dime and a penny.
Mhm.
That's, I believe, the denomination of the change that I saw on the ground was, I believe, pennies, dimes, and maybe a nickel.
How far, if you can recall approximately, was that change from the blood drop that you saw in the driveway?
It was in the same general area.
And were there any bloody shoe prints in that driveway area?
I did not see none or see any, no.
After you went out into the rear driveway and attempted to examine the alley for blood, what did you do next?
Well, at that time, Detective Phillips and Officer Risky walked back out onto Dorothy, and I re-entered the house to start catching up on the notes from what had been shown to me so far and what I have observed.
Okay. Now, what do you mean by catch up on the notes?
Well, we were walking, and I was trying to take mental notes And when I got an opportunity to bring myself up to date with those notes before I lost track of anything Officer Risky brought to my attention or anything that I observed.
Now, is that something that you customarily do at scenes that you're handling, sir?
Yes.
And what is the purpose of making those notes?
To start preliminary notes so I know who to direct and to where to get my logistical organization set in my mind what I'm going to need for this scene, what I need for criminalists, serologists, trace evidence, fingerprints, photographs. Do I need light trucks? Do I need more personnel? Enlarge the scene, shrink the scene. I have to catch up with what I have, what needs to be preserved. How are we going to do that? How do we recover it? So there's a lot of items that I have to start thinking about for notifications to get people to the location to do what they need to do.
No, so you walk back through the house again, entering through that same, excuse me. You re-entered the house through the garage, is that right, sir?
Yes,
And was that the same path going to the right of the Ferrari?
yes.
Where did you go all look throughout the house, or did you walk straight to the living room area?
I walked to the living room area. We had been previously shown the upstairs and the bathroom.
Who showed you that?
Officer Risky
And when was that?
during the initial walkthrough.
Okay, so when you went in with Detective Phillips and Officer Risky, he showed you the kitchen area, did he?
Yes, he didn't. We didn't walk through the kitchen area. We walked to the right of it. He showed us. He just took us upstairs and said showed us candles burning in the bathroom. There was candles burning in the living room.
Okay. And did you notice upstairs what the condition of the master bedroom was?
There was nothing disturbed that I saw.
Okay. By disturbed, did you see any evidence of blood?
No,
Did you see any evidence of drawers pulled out?
no,
See jewelry thrown around?
no,
Did you see clothes thrown around?
no,
Did you see bloody shoe prints on the carpeting?
no, I didn't.
And in the bathroom, did you see any of those things?
No.
Did you look into any other rooms upstairs?
If we did, we didn't enter them. We just looked inside. There didn't appear to be anything that Officer Risky had discovered earlier, and there didn't appear to be anything that we noted
Anything?
of any unusual or evidentiary value. Nothing that was consistent with the exterior.
Okay. When you say nothing that was consistent with the exterior, can you explain what you mean by that, sir?
There was a lot of blood evidence on the exterior of the house. Someone had fled the scene that was bleeding. We had 2 victims that had bled quite a lot.
And did you see any of that kind of blood or bleeding inside the house?
Not at all.
Any dirt that appeared to have been tracked inside from outside the house?
Not that I saw, no.
Or leaves from the foliage around the crime scene outside the house? Did you
No.
see that tracked inside?
No.
So when you went back inside and Detective Phillips and Officer Risky went out onto Dorothy, did you walk straight through to sit down in the living room?
Yes, I sat down on the edge of the couch nearest the right side or the south side of the front door.
So what was the purpose of going back inside? Was that to do another search?
No, I wanted to catch up on my notes when everything was fresh right then.
Sure. Yeah, I have here People's 104.
All right, People's 104. I'm sorry?
Is it 104?
I'm sorry, which are you speaking of?
I'm about to mark another exhibit. I'm just making sure it's 104 and not 105.
No, they withdrew that. All right, 104.
First of all, sir, I'm going to show it to you and ask you to tell me if these appear to be the notes that you took in the early morning hours of June the 13th, 1994 at 875 South Bundy.
Those are my notes, yes.
So that the jury can follow along, Your Honor, I'm going to ask that they be.
Right, these are 3 pages of Detective Furman's notes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Thank you.
One, please.
Okay, do you recognize that writing, sir?
Yes, it's my writing.
That's yours. Are these the notes you've just identified for us, sir?
Excuse me?
Are these the notes you've just identified as having taken on the early morning hours, sir, of
Yes.
June the 13th? All right, when you say there at the beginning, at scene 2:10 hours, that 2:10 in the morning, sir?
Yes.
And what is it you're telling us there?
I'm just making a notation. My arrival at the scene was at 0210 hours. And I contacted a Sergeant Rossi, who's the morning watch or AM watch commander at West LA.
And then you put item 1, Officer Risky. And is that what Officer Risky reported to you, sir, in that first item?
That's what I concluded. In other words, a condensed version, yes.
Now, what is the purpose of these notes? Is this a formal report that you're making, sir?
I'd characterize these as my first impression or my rough notes.
And with respect to item 2, was that information passed on to you by Officer Risky?
Yes.
Now, again, with respect to item 3, again,
Yes.
is that what was passed on to you by Officer Risky?
Yes.
At the time that you responded to the scene, sir, at 2:10 a.m., did you know what the cause of death was?
No.
Did Officer Risky know what the cause of death was?
No.
You have the last line of paragraph 3, POSS GSW. Can you
Yes.
interpret for us what that means?
It means possible gunshot wound.
And
I'm sorry?
I'm just with the clock. I just noticed it as
No, why don't we finish this item?
this item's 3 pages long. I'll be delighted, whatever the court wants. I'm just giving the court fair warning that we've got about 20 items, 17 items here.
Do you want to finish the item?
We finished item 3. Is that what you want me to
Why
do?
don't you finish the page?
Okay. And item 4. You indicate here that the residence appears untouched, no ransacking.
Those are my observations.
Mm-hmm. And is that basically what you've conveyed to us here today?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Was that significant to you, sir?
I believe it appeared whatever happened was happened to whoever was inside the residence, did not expect to be encountered in any form of confrontation.
Mm-hmm. And what about with respect to whether the killer went inside the house at any point after the murders?
I believe items 3 and maybe 4 would indicate that they did not.
That's the end of that page, Your Honor.
That's all you go into on that?
With respect, oh yeah, Actually, there. I could go into a whole other area with this if you want me to. I don't want to overstay my welcome with the court, so
Ms. Clark, I'm just the referee. It's your case.
this is a good time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the afternoon at this time. Please remember my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations on the matter till it's been submitted to you. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Detective Furman, you're ordered to return here 8:45 tomorrow morning. All right, thank you, sir. All right, you may step down, sir. All right, back on the record in the Simpson matter, the defendant is again present before the court with his counsel, Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Douglas, Mr. Bailey. People are represented by Ms. Clark, Mr. Darden, Ms. Lewis. The jury is not present. Counsel, is there anything we need to take up before we invite the jurors to join us?
Yes, there
Ms.
is, Your
Lewis.
Honor. Last night on the news, Mr. Bailey was seen referring to a female, and was heard referring to a female defense witness who he claimed was unknown to the prosecution and would be a surprise to the prosecution. And it sounded clear that this is somebody that the defense intends to call at trial. By Mr. Bailey's own words, this is someone they have failed to reveal in reciprocal discovery. So this seems an appropriate time, since if a decision had not been made by last night, it certainly was made by the time Mr. Bailey announced it to the world through the press that they have an additional witness they intend to call. So I would ask the court to order the defense to disclose the name and address and the statement of this witness, whoever it is.
No, they don't. No, nope. They don't have to disclose the name. They don't. No. If this is a witness that they haven't disclosed yet, easy, Judge Ito. It's easy. They don't testify. They're just not allowed to testify. No. They did it. They're doing it again. They can't be. Guys, they can't be, because it's just illegal. They can't be doing this. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I just do not understand. Hey, Bill. Look what Fozzie sent me. Did you see what Fozzie sent me? Hold on. I'm going to make myself big for just a second. All right, hold on. Look at this one first. It's the telephone holder. I'm Groot. This one, it's green, so you can't see because of the screen. Isn't that cute? Okay. That was cute. That brought our blood pressure back down. They can't do this. All right, let's see what Judge is going to say.
All right, Mr. Bailey, do you wish to respond to that?
It's a matter for a proffer. The witness is not on the list until this witness denies the incident. If he denies the incident, there won't be any need to call any witness, but the proffer that I am submitting to the court pursuant to our last visit to this subject contains the information, and I think when Your Honor looks at it and looks at another document, you'd be quite satisfied that the rules have been complied with. I'll be glad to submit that and let Your Honor look at it now, and we can confer in camera. I'll explain to you what I mean, but
All right.
Your Honor,
Excuse-
this is, I'm just on the discovery. I'll speak for us on this.
Sorry.
The cat is out of the bag again. I mean, I don't think Mr. Bailey can announce to the world last night, which includes announcing to the prosecution about this witness, and then seek to insulate the witness from discovery by saying, well, we'll let the...
He can, though. He's legally allowed to say whatever he wants to the media. It's not a crime to lie to the media. That's fine. He can say whatever he wants to them. However, he can't just pull a witness out in the middle of trial. They just don't testify. I mean, that part would be bad. He can tell the media, oh, I'm going to call this witness, and then never call that witness. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But
the court handle it.
Ms. Lewis, what was the specific comment that was made? I did not see that. I'm not aware of anything that was said regarding this.
Unfortunately, I didn't actually see it myself, but I have a transcript of it, which I'm told.
Also, she can't object right now. She can't really object until they try to call a witness that hasn't been disclosed, right? She can't really object because he said something on the news. She can only object if they try to call a witness that is not on the list. So I don't. This is just.
Hold is accurate. Quoting Mr. Bailey saying Mr. Bailey, claims there is another woman Furman did not know was present when he was together with Bell on a separate occasion. Bailey would not elaborate on the mystery witness. And that was about all on this one. I think he was, I know he was more specific in terms of the gender because he described it as a female witness during the press conference that he gave after court yesterday.
All right, Mr. Bailey, you're willing to make a disclosure to the court, 1054.7 in camera? All right, then I'll ask, I anticipate that we will be on direct examination for the entire morning session with Detective Furman and Ms. Clark, so I don't think that we'll be getting anywhere close to cross-examination at this point, but I'll take the opportunity to look at it when we take our first break.
Your Honor, it is, if it's discoverable now, we want it now. It may affect our direct examination of Detective Furman. I mean, it could well have an impact or maybe not, but that's something that we need to know. And since it is discoverable now, it appears to be a slender envelope. Doesn't it look like it would take the court considerable time to look at? We'd request the court to conduct an in-camera now, please.
All right, I'm going to decline that invitation at this point. I'll do it at the first break. All right, Mr. Bailey, if you'll file that then with Mrs. Robertson, and I'll review it when we take our first break. Yes, please. All right, secondly, counsel, I have received a fax from Patricia Berman regarding the recurring ice cream issue. Have staff give counsel a copy of both of those. I have also received additional testing results from Cellmark and from LAPD regarding fingerprint and other analysis that were done. And Ms. Carswell is making photocopies of those right now, and you'll be provided with those at the first break. All right, anything else? All right, Deputy McNair, let's have the jurors, please. Ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, Ida, what did they just say? The recurring ice cream problem. What the heck is a recurring ice cream problem? What are they doing? Are they like forensically doing more tests and stuff like that on ice cream right now? Or what could it possibly be? Somebody explain this to me, please. What are they doing with ice cream right now?
All right, Detective Furman, would you please resume the witness stand? All right, good morning, Detective Furman.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Detective, you're reminded you're still under oath. Ms. Clark, you may resume with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. When we left off, Detective Furman, you indicated that you were writing notes on the living room couch inside the condominium at 875 South Bundy. You recall that?
Yes, I do.
All right, now, before you entered the house at that point to sit down and write your notes. Was there any point when you were at the crime scene up until that time that you were alone?
No.
Who were you with from the moment you arrived at 875 South Bundy in the company of Detective Phillips in his car? Who were you with?
Detective Phillips.
And when you arrived at 875 South Bundy, who did you meet with?
Sergeant Rossi and Officer Risky.
Okay. And then who was it that took you up through the shrubbery, up the front walkway to look at the crime scene?
Officer Risky.
And was Detective Phillips with you as well?
Yes.
And after that point, you went, I believe you indicated you went around through the back and entered through the garage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when you did so, who was with you?
Officer Risky and Detective Phillips.
And as you walked through the house and stepped out on the landing to look at the crime scene, who was with you?
Officer Risky and Detective Phillips.
And when you stepped out the front door and walked down the walkway following the bloody shoe prints out to the alley, who was with you?
Officer Risky and Detective Phillips.
And when you exited the rear gate and went out to the driveway and observed the blood drop and the change, who was with you?
Officer Risky and Detective Phillips.
When you went back to re-enter the location, to re-enter the condominium, where did Officer Risky and Detective Phillips go?
I believe they walked back to Dorothy.
Okay. At that point, how long had you been at the crime scene?
Maybe 15 minutes at the most.
Okay. And what were you wearing at that time?
A blue blazer, tan slacks, white shirt.
Okay. You then went into the condominium, is that correct?
Yes.
And where did you go to?
The couch directly to the right or the south of the front door.
And when you sat on that couch, was the front door open, sir?
Yes.
Was there anyone outside the location on the landing at that time?
No.
And you sat down to begin writing your notes. Was that the first time that you were separated from Detective Phillips and Officer Risky?
Yes.
And at that point, had the glove and the cap underneath the bush already been pointed out to you from the front gate area and then again from the landing area outside the front door by Officer Risky?
Yes.
Now, you sat down to write your notes, and we were going through those notes yesterday. So we finished page one. We haven't quite finished page one, actually. Go back to,
I think we finished item 3.
Whoa. Hold on. What are you wearing is an important question in many, many respects.
I think we finished item 3,
we finished item 3. Thank you, Ron.
I think.
You're right.
One, please.
Now, these notes, sir, can you tell us, were these meant to be your final and definitive notes as the investigating officer at that time for this crime scene?
No, this is the first round of notes.
Okay. When you say the first round of notes, sir, can you explain a little bit more what you mean by that?
Most of these notes were what Officer Risky was pointing out to Detective Phillips and myself and what I observed.
What did you intend to do? So were these notes rough notes?
Yes.
What did you intend to do with these notes later on?
I used them to go back to these areas and use them as a guide in what to go back to and prioritize them.
I think you indicated earlier that the item numbers that you have on this list, 1, 2, 3, 4, et cetera, that each number would be referenced later on in a more full detailed report.
Yes.
And how would you do that? What would you do?
Well, taking notes at the scene, if it would have gone beyond this point, I would have, as an example, item 3, I would have put at the top of the page. I would have wrote any notes I wanted about item 3. If it was 3 pages, it would have been page 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom. And then I'd know that that was that observation or that point that Officer Risky pointed out. And I would be able to organize it somewhat like that.
Okay.
All right, for the record, Ms. Clark, we're referring to page 1, items 3 and 4 of People's Exhibit 104.
Correct. But your observation, sir, concerning your description of what you would do with these items, does that pertain to all of the items on these notes that we're going through now?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that you briefly went upstairs and saw the bedrooms yesterday. You recall that?
Yes,
Did you see rooms that appeared to be children's rooms?
I did, but I don't recall exactly anything about them.
Did you ask what happened to the children or whether they were, or did you know already?
Officer Risky informed me that there were 2 children in the house and they'd been taken to West LA Station.
So by the time you got there, you knew they were already taken care of?
Yes.
And did he tell you that as soon as you arrived at the scene?
I believe it was the initial explanation of what had transpired before we walked in the scene, yes.
Now, was Officer Risky the only one that pointed things out to you, sir, or were there other officers that pointed things out when you arrived at 875 South Bundy?
Just Officer Risky.
So you sat down and you began to write these notes on the living room couch. And I think we left off at 4 and you were discussing with us, sir, the fact that you saw no evidence of ransacking. And was that important to you?
Yes.
And tell us why.
Initially, I was concerned that possibly the house was part of the crime scene, and I was looking for evidence that would give me any indication of that.
And did you find any?
No, not in the first walkthrough.
Now, you found the stereo was playing and the lights were low, the candles were lit in the living room and in the upstairs bathroom,
Yes.
according to your notes. Did that indicate anything to you in terms of information useful to the investigation of these murders?
At that point, I would conclude that someone was home at that time and someone was preparing possibly to take a bath. Someone was listening to music.
Next, please. This is the second page of your notes, sir. Do you recognize these notes?
Yes, the numbers are cut off. There.
There we go.
There. Good.
Item number 5.
I'm just a tiny bit confused again. Okay. Nicole goes to eat dinner at a restaurant that Ron works at with a group of 10 people, was it? OJ's furious. She's in there eating with them. OJ shows up. He goes to the table next to hers. He turns a chair around directly facing Nicole and sits and watches her. It's awkward for her. She finishes her dinner with her family and everybody, and she leaves. And then the mom calls and says, glasses were left the glasses there. Can you take them to Nicole? Right? Ron takes the glasses in an envelope to Nicole. So they're both murdered outside on the sidewalk. So there's a bath, there's candles, there's ice cream, there's kids. So it's all right. Maybe it's not like they were walking together down the sidewalk. It can't be, right? Because he was just bringing the glasses to her house. So what must have happened? The only thing that makes sense, hi Maria, is she came out of the house and the whole way down to the walkway to meet Ron. You remember they didn't have cell phones back then. It's not like he texted her, hey, come on out, I'm here. He would have had to have come to her house and walk up to the door and knock on the door to give her glasses, right? So how did both of them get way down to the walkway to get murdered down in the walkway? She must have got home from her dinner and started a bath and everything. The kids were there. Where were the kids when the murders were going on? Like, did anybody find out if they've seen or heard anything that night? They might have heard the doorbell ring and Nicole just not taking the glasses or inviting him in. They couldn't have walked him. They were talking about his car being parked somewhere. Were they talking about the car being parked at the restaurant or at Nicole's house. I know they were talking about his car. We didn't ever find out about that because Cochran kept objecting. They weren't allowed to tell us where the car was, and I don't know why. Because I guess that would make sense, but it doesn't make sense. All right. If I drop something, this is old fashioned, but if I drop something off at Bob's house, Bob might walk me to my car. But if Bob dropped something off at my house, I would not walk Bob back to his car and then have to go back to my house alone. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I can't see Nicole walking him back to his car because she might get murdered. You know what I mean? Women can't do stuff like that because they might get murdered outside all alone.
5. You indicate there's a handwritten note on the upstairs coffee table, which you quote as Cara with a phone number, California Pizza Kitchen.
Yes.
And where did you see that?
There's a upstairs, I think it would be described best as a family room, and I believe it was above the garage. I think you stepped up from the kitchen area or that hall area, and it was on the coffee table.
And the pizza menu by the female victim's left leg.
Maybe. Okay, maybe, CJ. But if you're a killer and you're about to kill these two people and you're inside a house where no witnesses, except maybe the children, would you take them out to the street where the whole world can see you? Okay, I know it's down like the side alley, but anybody walking by can see what's going on. I don't think like OJ made them leave the house. I don't know. Well, Nicole had to have been inside because of the bathwater and the candles. Okay, if the kids were taking a bath, there wouldn't be candles. Kids don't light candles to take to take a bath. So I think it's Nicole that was taking a bath because of the candles. So she had to get home and started a bath. I just don't see how they got out to the walkway. And he still had the glasses with him. So no, so it's not like she was walking him to his car. He had the glasses with him still. Okay, that makes sense. She came to the door. He knocks on the door and she comes to the door to get the glasses. That makes perfect sense. But these guys were murdered down on the walkway, not right beside the door. And the glasses never made it into the house. Glasses were outside. So I don't think he went in. So he went into the house. OJ was in the house. Okay. Wait. That almost makes sense. Ron gets there with the glasses. OJ's already in there. OJ is already fighting with Nicole. Ron gets there, knocks on the door, hears everything, screaming, yelling, her crying or whatever, opens the door. She's yelling, he's going to kill me like she did last time. Remember the last time she said she started running to the guy and saying, he's going to kill me. She starts running to Ron saying, he's going to kill me. OJ's coming after them. They run from him. They try to run from him, but he's a football player. So he gets them at the walkway. He stabs the first one. Actually, if he did it, then Nicole would be the first one, I think, because I think Ron runs faster than Nicole in this situation. Maybe he's chivalrous and he puts her in front of him and starts trying to get her to run faster. Or maybe they both start running. He's faster. OJ gets Nicole and then he gets Ron. Then he comes back and finishes Nicole. I don't know. So what, he's hiding in the bushes, and when Ron gets there and she opens the door, he holds the knife and says, "Get away from the door, both of you. Get get going, get down into the walkway." Sure wish the prosecutor would give us a frickin' theory.
Do you recall, can you tell us, did you bend down and actually read that it was a pizza menu, or was that at first glance description?
I think that was at first glance, that's what I thought it was.
Okay.
Mrs. Robertson? Your Honor, this is People's 80,
People's 80.
and then we've got the feed for this photo.
I have.
Two, please.
All right, showing you People's 80, sir. Can you tell us if you recognize what's shown in this photograph?
I haven't seen this since June 13th, but that looks about the same location. I can't tell what the writing is, but that appears to be what I saw at her feet, yes.
Okay. And does that appear to be what you were attempting to describe in item 5 of your notes?
Yes.
Clerk, please.
Thank you.
Okay, item 6, that was the ice cream that you were describing.
Yes.
You indicate in this that it says not yet melted when Officer Risky entered the residence.
Yes.
Okay. And is that something that was told to you by Officer Risky?
Yes.
And what was it that he indicated to you with respect to the condition of that ice cream that you observed?
And the best I can remember, it was just that it appeared that it hadn't melted yet, or it was in the process, but
Okay.
I don't know how he would have concluded that.
Now, when you saw the ice cream 2 hours later, you earlier indicated to us that it still looked lumpy to you.
Yes.
Okay. And what color did it appear to be?
Tan, light brown.
Did that ice cream have any particular evidentiary significance to you?
Only in that the house was so neat, and it seemed to be the only item of food or anything that I would see looked out of place, being an intruder into the house. In other words, never being in the house before.
You being the intruder, that is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, item 7, children 2 sleeping in upstairs bedroom, awoken by officers. Was that information given to you by another officer?
Yes.
By,
Officer Risky.
okay, item number 8. Was that something you observed, sir?
No, Officer Risky told me that.
Were you able to observe it from your vantage point, either at the front gate of the walkway when you were with Officer Risky and Detective Phillips, or from the landing outside the front door where you observed the crime scene in the company of Officer Risky and Detective Phillips?
No, I did not observe that from that location.
So that was information given to you by Officer Risky.
Yes.
Item number 9. Those were the bloody shoe prints that you described to us earlier.
Yes.
Was that something that you personally observed?
Yes.
And was it also pointed out to you by Officer Risky?
Yes, it was.
Item number 10. Can you tell us what you're referring to in that item?
Yes, a canvas is the term we use to describe officers going to neighbors' location around the crime scene to see if they heard or saw anything anytime during the evening that could have led up to the time of the murders.
And as of the time you were writing those notes, Did you have any information from any of the neighbors nearby about what may have transpired that night?
None.
So you had no idea then at that point whether there were any eyewitnesses or ear witnesses, people who've heard things or seen things that may be relevant to the murders.
I had no knowledge of any, no.
All right, item number 11, Akita dog found running loose, belongs to victim female. Can you tell us what you're referring to there and who gave you that information?
That was from Officer Risky.
And, okay, that was something that he informed you of
Yes,
when you arrived at the scene?
yes.
And did you see a dog when you arrived at the scene, sir?
I did not know, ma'am.
And item number 12, neither vehicle, white Ferrari, black Cherokee in garage, rear parking were warm to touch? That's it? Okay. Was that your personal observation, sir, that you're describing there?
No, it was Officer Risky.
Tell us, is that something commonly done to go and touch the hoods of the vehicles at a crime scene?
You would want to, it could establish some type of a time,
A time for,
the last time the vehicle was used.
and would that help? What kind of time frame would that help you with? What would be the significance if the car had just been driven?
The last time the vehicle was driven, it could indicate how many hours the vehicle had been at the location after it was driven, or a ballpark.
Mm-hmm. So would that be an indication to you, sir, of when the victim was last alive? Another indication to you?
It could.
All right. This is the third page of your notes, sir.
Yes.
Item number 13. At the rear gate on the north side of the residence, that north, on N/S, is that right?
North side.
Two blood spots at the bottom inside of the gate. Is that what you described as having seen when you in your testimony earlier yesterday?
Yes, it is.
Now, when you say this area might have been where a dog was kept, when you say this area, what do you mean?
The pathway on the north side of the residence, it had gates at both ends, and this might, since the dog was loose, and I already been told that, I just made a note that this could be the area that the dog was kept. In other words, if it didn't live in the home.
Okay. So when you say the north side of the house, you mean that walkway that leads from the front of the residence to the rear alley?
Yes.
Okay. And you were speculating to yourself that might be where the dog was kept?
Yes, ma'am.
And then it says, suspect ran through this area. Suspect possibly bitten by dog, question mark. When you say suspect ran through this area, that was based on what?
Oh, there was the bloody shoe prints going westbound away from the landing and the victims. There was blood drops to the left of those shoe prints. I put that on my notes to make myself remember that a dog was probably in that area.
Wait, what about the invisible shoe prints going the other direction? I know we have these shoe prints that we can see and touch because there's blood. I know we have these shoe prints, but what about the invisible ones that were going in the other direction? You didn't take a picture of those, did you? You didn't put that in your notebook, did you?
And for myself to wonder if maybe the dog bit the suspect.
Okay. So that was just your speculation then, possibly bitten by the dog?
Yes, ma'am. That's why I put a question mark there.
Okay. No one had told you that, in other words?
No.
Okay. Item number 14, the rear gate, possible blood smudge on upper rail of gate.
Yes.
And is that what you described to it as having seen earlier in your testimony yesterday?
Yes.
And when you say the upper rail of the gate, can you tell us what you mean by that? Describe the area you're talking about.
Yes, the gate's comprised of large 2-inch tubing that appeared to be bent into 90 degrees that create the outside outside of the gate, and then some type of security mesh and rails in the middle. And that large tubular part of the gate is where the smudge was on top.
Oh no, they'll be in direct examination for a while. I don't I don't think so. I think this is her dog.
Item number 15. You have rear gate inside deadbolt, turn knob type. And what are you describing there, sir?
The type of, you'd have a conventional knob on the west side of the gate as a locking mechanism, and on the inside of the gate would be just a turn knob. In other words, the key would be used on the exterior, and a turn knob, if you're in the inside, you would not need a key. You just turn a knob, similar to a deadbolt style lock on a house.
Okay. Did Officer Risky tell you in what condition he found that rear gate when he first responded to the crime scene?
I don't recall if he told us. I saw that it was open.
Okay. And when you first walked through that rear gate for the first time with Officer Risky and Detective Phillips, was it standing open, sir, or was it propped open?
It wasn't wide open, but it was open, maybe several inches to a foot, I suppose.
So did it have to be pushed in order for you to exit? Did Officer Risky push it open when you exited?
It might have been pushed open with a pen or a flashlight. It wasn't pushed open with the bare hand.
Okay. And then you said here,
Lies.
possible blood smudge and visible fingerprint. Can you describe what you were talking about there? I believe you addressed that earlier in your testimony. Can you describe what it was you saw that caused you to write that?
Yes, on the inside where I described the deadbolt style lock on the inside, or the east side of the gate, on the turn knob there it's brass plated. It looked to be blood smudge on that, leading to what I saw might be a possible fingerprint or a partial fingerprint.
Okay. And so you made a note of that?
Yes.
Okay, item number 16. Bloody paw prints of large dog leading from the residence southbound on the sidewalk, approximately 60 feet south of the residence. Can you tell us what you're describing there?
Yes, coming out of the front of the walkway where all the blood was flowing down towards the sidewalk, there was canine paw prints leading southbound on the sidewalk towards Dorothy. And I approximated that
Where all the blood was flowing down towards the sidewalk. All right, I know there was blood, but nobody ever told us there was so much blood that it was flowing down towards the sidewalk.
paw prints were visible for 60 feet.
And that was your personal observation, sir?
Yes, it was.
And item 17, you wrote ski mask, one glove by feet of male victim. And again, can you tell us, was that your personal observation?
Yes, it was both directed by Officer Risky and my personal observation.
So that was a combination of Officer Risky's information to you and your own personal observation?
Yes.
And the ski mask that you refer to, sir,
All right, she's having a problem collecting her thoughts. So we're going to end this for today. We'll talk about the ski mask tomorrow. and we'll just try to wrap our heads around how this happened. I want to look. I want to look in, on the web and try to figure out what happened, but I'm not going to. I want to go through this trial with just the information that I have, except for the Bronco chase. I already know what happened there. I mean, everybody did. So thanks for coming out, guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you all really, really, really soon. Bye, guys.